Welcome to another episode of our metaphysical podcast, where we take ancient narratives and unravel their profound spiritual truths. Today, we are dissecting the journey of Buddha, not as a historical figure, but as a metaphysical blueprint for enlightenment using esoteric wisdom from the sacred texts. This isn't just a story about a man, it's a story about the awakening of the divine within us all. The birth of Gautama, the descent of the Supreme Self, born then, at last, as the child Gautama, son of Suddhodana, and purified by a long observance of the 6 transcendent virtues, Buddha ultimately attained to perfect knowledge and arhatship under the Bodhi tree, and in so attaining passed from the condition of a bodhisattva to that of the highest of all arhats, a supreme Buddha. This passage is far more than a historical account. It represents the involution and evolution of the divine soul within the human experience, Gautama as the germ soul. The Buddha's birth symbolizes the descent of the Supreme Self, Atma Buddhi, into the lower planes of existence. This mirrors our own spiritual journey. Each of us is a germ soul born into material conditions, with the potential to evolve into the divine. Suddhodana, the king. Suddhodana, the father of Buddha, is not merely a king in a literal sense. He represents the Supreme Self at the commencement of involution, where the divine essence first enters the cycle of material incarnation. Like the king of the race of the sun, Suddhodana signifies the collective solar pitris, the divine energies that initiate human evolution. The process of involution, the Bodhisattva's descent. Before Buddha could attain enlightenment, he had to first undergo involution, the process by which the higher self enters denser forms of consciousness. The Bodhisattva stage represents the being who has committed to spiritual evolution, but has not yet completed it. This is a stage of potential, a soul that still carries unperfected wisdom. The Bodhisattvas are the monads that originate as prototypes on the Buddhic plane and become reflected into lower levels of consciousness. They are the outpourings of spiritual truth into matter. The 6 transcendent virtues. The inner alchemy of enlightenment Buddha was purified by the 6 transcendent virtues. These virtues align with the gradual perfection of the higher self within us. This process isn't just an external purification, it is the gradual transformation of consciousness. Each virtue represents an aspect of our own mental and emotional purification. Dana, generosity, the expansion of consciousness beyond egoistic desires. Sila, discipline, the alignment of the self with higher cosmic order. Kshanti, patience, mastery over reactionary emotions and the dissolution of separateness. Virya, energy, the divine force propelling the soul toward enlightenment. Dhyana, meditation, the focused absorption in the true nature of reality. Prajna, wisdom, the culmination of all virtues, leading to self-realization. The Bodhi tree, the cosmic pillar of awakening. Buddha's final stage of enlightenment happens under the Bodhi tree. But what does this tree represent? The tree of life is found across all spiritual traditions, from the Kabbalistic Etz Chaim to the Norse Yggdrasil. It represents the axis mundi, the central pillar that links the material world to the higher planes. The Bodhi tree, in metaphysical terms, is the internal structure of consciousness through which the higher self ascends. Lion-Gait and the supreme victory. I, Buddha, am born for supreme knowledge, for the welfare of the world, thus this is my last birth. This declaration represents the culmination of spiritual involution and the return to the divine source. Lion-Gait of Buddha, this signifies the strong and powerful self that has conquered the lower nature. The quaternary, representing the fourfold nature of the material world, has been transcended. The Supreme Buddha. At this stage, Gautama is no longer simply a man. He is the fully realized higher self. destroying evils, transcending the illusions of the ego. Buddha was born to destroy the evils of the world. This phrase isn't referring to external evils. It is about transcending the falsehoods of the lower mind, the illusion of separateness, recognizing that all beings are facets of the one soul, the attachments of the ego, liberating the self from the cyclical rebirth of desires, the false identity of the material self, realizing that the world is a reflection, not the true reality. Buddha's final battle was not against external forces, but against the internal illusions that keep the soul bound to suffering. Maitreya, the eternal Buddha nature. Within, after his enlightenment, the Buddha transferred the Bodhisattva mantle to Maitreya, the Buddha of the future. What does this mean metaphysically? Maitreya is the self as savior, the principle of eternal wisdom and compassion that resides within every human soul. It signifies the continuation of the divine evolutionary cycle. Each of us carries the potential to awaken as Maitreya. Renovation of the earth, the new heaven and new earth. From the extinct fire of purification, there will come a more beautiful earth, pure and perfect, and destined to be eternal. Zoroastrian system. The concept of a new earth isn't about an external transformation. It is about the Buddhic transmutation of consciousness. The terrains of the soul are shifting, and as the lower nature is purified, the higher nature manifests. This aligns with 2 Peter 3:13. We look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. The destruction of the first heaven and first earth is the dissolution of ego and illusion, leading to the realization of the Eternal One. Buddha's story is our story. This is not a historical tale of an ancient man, but a metaphysical allegory of our own spiritual awakening. Gautama is our descent into matter. Bodhisattva is our struggle to awaken. Buddha is our final realization. Maitreya is our continuing journey beyond enlightenment. Each of us is walking this path, whether we are aware of it or not. The goal is not simply knowledge. It is to become the knowledge, to live it, and to awaken as the Supreme Buddha within. This has been your metaphysical breakdown of Buddha's journey. Stay tuned for our next deep dive into esoteric wisdom. Until next time, continue the path of awakening, for you are the Buddha. Peace is ancient.